It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
In the criminal justice system, sexually-based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.
So y'all, I'm sitting out here at the park watching my child play, and this lady walked up to me, this older lady. She was walking with a cane, getting her steps in, getting her exercise. She sat on the bench beside me and started talking. She started kind of talking about, how good God is and how she just out here enjoying nature. I said, yeah, I like to do that too. That's why I'm sitting over here by myself and my child over there playing. I like to, sit with God, talk to him, just, look at his creation. We had a little back and forth about how good God is, and the lady started telling me her story. Y'all, this lady told me years ago God brought her through because this lady ended up having to, I don't want to say the word because TikTok be tripping, but you know that phrase how your parents tell you I brought you in this world and I take you out? Yeah, she had to take her own son up out of here, her oldest child, because she said she said she had her first son when she was 15 years old. His daddy was in the streets, and she was in the streets too because she was a foster child, so she didn't have no family. When she had her baby, she got out the system, and she was able to get her baby, take her baby with her. She got a job, she straightened up, and was taking care of her child at 15, 16 years old. The daddy was still running the streets doing what he wanted to do. Ended up getting locked up, getting life in prison. So, while he was in prison, dude ended up leaving this world too. So, it was just her and her son. She started telling me how she did the best she could with him, but he was just a terrible child. She said that she don't like to call. She was like, I don't like to call kids bad. But I really had a terrible child. He was really a terrible child. She said nobody could do nothing with him. He terrorized the teachers, terrorized his classmates, was always fighting, getting into something. From a little baby, he wanted to fight and just was violent. He was just a violent child. So eventually, the boy ended up getting kicked out of school. She done did everything she could do. She done punished him, tried, reinforcing, prayed over him, took him to church, prayed for him, laid him on the altar. Nothing worked. Nothing worked for her child. He ended up getting expelled from school, and that was like the beginning of her being terrorized by her own child. So at that point, he was home. It wasn't nothing she could do. She would have to miss work because every time she found somebody to watch him, they would call her to come get him because they couldn't do it. And this is a 10-year-old boy. At this point, he was like 10 years old. Finally, he ended up getting arrested and being sent to the juvenile facility because he participated in an armed robbery with some older boys. When he was 14, they let him out. He got out, came home to his mama. By the end, his mama had gotten married and had 2 more kids. He immediately terrorizing the mama, treating 2 little kids bad, disobeying, not wanting nothing to do with her husband. Her husband tried to, be a man, show him what a father was, show him what a man is. He didn't want no parts of it. His stepdaddy couldn't do nothing with him. His mama still couldn't do nothing with him. Nobody could control this little boy. 14 years old, he was in there wanting to fight his stepdaddy, wanting to fight his mama. hitting on his siblings that was only toddlers at the time. So she ended up saying he couldn't stay there no more. So, because it was causing issues between her husband and her other children. She was basically afraid for her other kids' safety at that point. So she sent him to a group home for troubled youth. He went there for like 6 months. Came home supposedly good. It went like that. He was right back to terrorizing the household, trying to run things, doing whatever he wanted to do. He just couldn't be controlled. So by then, she had another baby. Her and her husband was kind of, okay. And then the boy got hooked on drugs when he was like 16. So instead of him ripping around in the streets, he was still in the streets, but he was coming home. He was going out in the streets and then coming home high, terrorizing the house once again. He ended up essaying one of his younger sisters that was like 5 years old at the time. That's when the husband said he couldn't take no more. He packed up himself and his kids. He moved out. The lady stayed there in the house with her son because she still had faith and hope in her son. She tried to get him help. She sent him to all types of rehabs programs. He was in and out of jail. Nothing would help. Nothing could help him. And nothing she did helped him. So after a while, he was on drugs so bad, he hadn't stole everything from her. Was stealing out of her purse, just whatever he could get his hands on, he was stealing it out of the house and selling it for drugs. He hadn't put his hands on her several times. But this one day, he stole something that meant a lot to her. It was like this little trinket that she had from her mom. And like I said, she was in foster care. So that was the only thing of her biological mom that she had, because her mom had been killed when she was a baby. So she never knew her mom. And that was all that she had from her mom. Or anybody. She had no family. So that was all she had. And it hurt her when he stole it and I guess pawned it for drugs. So she approached him about it and he laughed. He was high and he laughed, and she basically told him, like, I can't take no more. You gotta go. I can't take it. So he ended up beating her up. He got angry and he beat her up. Just thrown her out of the house. Now the lady, she worked at the hospital. She said she called out of work the next day because she couldn't go to the hospital with a bruised up face, even though she had done it before. She had done it so many times, like she just couldn't think of nothing to say for yet another black eye. So she called out of work the next day, stayed home all day, thinking he would be gone on a binge for a few days, because that's what he would do. Him and his friend actually came to the house that day, high, probably looking for something else to steal and get some more drugs with. He came in, saw her there. She approached him and told him, like, no, y'all gotta go. You can't, I don't want you in my house no more. You gotta go. Y'all, this boy, her son, that she did everything she could do for, let his friend, he held his mama down and let his friend essay this lady. And when his friend was done, he did what he wanted to do to her too. Y'all, this poor lady was stuck in her house with her son and his friend for hours. why they just did whatever they wanted to do to her. All because he didn't want to get out and leave after she had done everything she could for him. Like, that was just so sick. It made me sick to my stomach. Y'all, the whole time she was telling me this story, I kept interrupting her, like, is this when you did it? Is this when it happened? Like, is this when you sent him to glory? Because y'all, behind my baby, he would have had to meet his maker that day. But everybody different. So she didn't. She just continued on with life through all of this going on. So when him and his friend did what they did to her, y'all, this lady didn't do nothing about it. She didn't do nothing about it. This lady got herself up off the floor, cleaned herself up, took herself to the hospital because they actually did some serious damage to her. And she told the hospital and the police that she had no idea who this person was that had did this to her. She told them it was just a random man, and she didn't know who he was. And that was the end of that. She wouldn't cooperate with them, so of course the case went cold and got closed. So after that happened, he stayed gone for a little bit and he came back. So he comes back to the house. He actually got a little girlfriend, brought her with him. They both staying with her. The girl ended up getting pregnant. The baby ended up being born addicted to crack. Mind y'all, all this is happening in like the 80s and 90s, so during the crack epidemic. So the little girl was born addicted to drugs. And so the people at the hospital, of course, called DCF. DCF took custody of the child. She didn't want her grandchild in the system, so she became the little girl's guardian. But in order for her to be the guardian, she had to keep her son and the baby mama away from the little girl because they was both still on drugs. So they ended up, she became the little girl's guardian. Life goes on. She ended up letting him back in the house like not long after. The mama didn't come back, but he did. So he goes back to still terrorizing her, beating on her, mistreating the baby. She did try in the beginning to try to keep the baby away from him because she didn't want nothing to happen to her. But eventually he was putting his hands on her too. And life just was what it was for them. And y'all, of course, DCF is no longer in the picture as usual. They placed the child, checked in for a little bit, and left them alone after they assumed that everything was cool. So that was that, and they had no supervision over this child. Y'all, the little girl turns like 7, 8 years old. She's in school now. She ends up telling a friend at school that her dad is essaying her. The little girl told her mom, and the mom called the grandma like, hey, your son is messing with your daughter. Y'all, this lady didn't do nothing about it. She talked to her grandchild. The little girl told her that he had her doing things with her hands and her mouth. She ended up just telling her, well, just try to stay away from him. Don't get close to him. Y'all, obviously that didn't work. So eventually, he keeps messing with the girl. And she got another job. So she just starts working long hours and staying away from the house as much as she possibly can. Just turning the other cheek to what's going on in her household. Acting like she don't know what's going on. She don't know nothing. So years go by, y'all. I'm trying to speed it up because y'all said I was going slow. So years go by. He's still messing with his daughter. This is just regular everyday life for them. The little girl turns 14 and ends up pregnant. Y'all, the girl got pregnant by her daddy. Told her grandmother that it was her daddy's baby. The grandma told her to lie and said it was some random boy and she don't know who it is. The granddaughter listened. She had her father's baby and brought that baby home to her father and her grandmother, who was allowing this to happen in the first place. And they went on about life like everything was cool. Y'all, the girl had the baby. She's 15, taking care of a baby that she just had by her dad. The grandmother still acting like nothing is going on, telling her just, keep going about your life. Son still terrorizing both of them, putting his hands on both of them at this point. And while all this is going on, one of her older children actually decided that it was time for them to get back in touch with their mom because they are now young adults. So the daughter that was essayed by him years ago reached out just to try to talk to her mom and see, So her and the mom talk. Her mom kind of tries to keep them away from her household. They start building a relationship again, but she does her best to keep them away from the house, away from the son, away from the granddaughter. They end up finding out that they do have a niece, and the daughter, who was previously essayed by her brother, actually just pops up at the house one day because she wants to meet her niece. The grandmother was working as usual, so it was really nothing she could do about it. She started talking to her niece, building a relationship with her. They end up building a bond, and the niece ends up later on coming clean to her about everything that's going on in the household. The girl just couldn't take it no more, and she told her aunt, hey, this is what my dad is doing, and this is what he's done to me, and this is his baby. So the daughter approaches her mom about the situation. The lady tries to deny it, and the daughter goes and she reports all of this to the police and CPS. Everything blows up. Long story short, dude got arrested finally, and she ended up taking custody of her niece. The daughter ends up taking custody of her niece and great niece. Yeah, however that goes. So they go live with her. Mom is left alone in this house after all she's done, trying to keep her son from going to jail, trying to keep him safe, lost her kids, lost her husband. After everything that she's been through, she just kind of loses it. So the boy or the son, he ends up getting a bond. She bonds him out. He comes home to her out on bond. She confronts him about everything she's lost, everything she's done for him, how she's tried to keep him out of this situation for all these years, and he just wouldn't stop. Now he's just terrorized them for all this time. He doesn't take her serious. He laughs in her face. At this point, she's at her breaking point. She goes and she gets her weapon, her pew-pew. So she sits in her room and she contemplates using it on herself. Originally, she wanted to use it on herself. But after she sat up all night thinking about it, she decided that she was such a bad mother and grandmother that it's her fault that her son is like this, and she can't leave him in the world to continue torturing people. So she goes to her son's room where he is, Hive, as usual, and she points it at him, and he laughs at her. She pointed it at him, he's laughing. She's telling him, I've done all I could for you. I can't believe this is where we are right now. Da da da. She shoots him. After seeing what she just did, she no longer has the guts to do what she wanted to do. So she took her weapon, put it in her purse, drove herself to the police station, turned herself in. After everything that happened, after she sat and told them everything, all of this stuff that's been going on throughout the years, she ends up getting off on a temporary insanity mental health offense. Now, she didn't just get completely away with it. She did end up doing 3 years in a mental health facility because apparently she was traumatized from everything she had been through, and that was the cause of her offing her son. So, yeah. And y'all, now in 2025, she no longer has any contact with her children or her grandchildren. She's just out here by herself, and nobody wants anything to do with her. But as she said, God brought her through it.
What it do, everyday people, man? It's your boy PJ. Today we back with another lit video, back in the confessional, and yes, we staying lit. Big dog, man. Check out. Shout out to my homeboy everyday. This story done got me all lost. Shout out to my everyday people who rock with me every day. Shout out to my player partner Lucky wasn't there. He keep it lit. Man, hit the link down below. We got HiveMindLabs.com where you can unbig that back. Okay, use the discount code everydaypj at checkout. All right, HiveMindLabs.com. Okay, that's a supplemental company. You know, you can get your protein powders, you can get your weight loss supplements. You know what I'm saying? The good stuff. The good stuff. Super fat burners. Telling you. You gonna see that super slim PJ on the beach somewhere. Well, I ain't super slim, but I'm slim enough. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's get into it, big dog. Now, I was thinking when I heard this, I was like, this reminds me of a case. It reminded me of the Naziah Harris, and I can't remember what city this was in. Let me see what city this was in. But anyway, the Naziah Harris, the girl was 14 and she got pregnant, and it got off to this is in Oklahoma City. That's right. It was in Oklahoma City. No, I'll take that back. That wasn't it. I clicked the wrong link. This happened in Michigan. This happened in Michigan. The man claimed, the police claimed the man R-worded her, and then after she got pregnant, like, yo, and then I think she was still missing. So I don't know if she ever been found or not, but Jarvis Butts, that was his name. Jarvis Butts. But, you know, he just looked like a fella. But the alleged victims are now 20 and 13 respectively. Both were under the age of 13 when the crimes took place. Mr. Buck started, I don't know. This is crazy. Victims are now 20 and 13. So Naziah would be 20, or was she 20? I don't know. But it's crazy. I don't know that story. That story is crazy. I know a lot of people did something on that on YouTube, but yeah, it's just like, man, the mom is definitely stupid. Like, for letting this happen to her kid. You gotta go. You gotta die immediately. For hurting my child, even if you are my child. I would be very disappointed at my child for hurting my child. And if it's a troubled child, one that's giving me trouble, I don't think I would feel any type of remorse for the way I'm finna do you if you hurt my child. But if you are a child that I didn't think that would do this, I would kind of want to get you some therapy and, you know, still love you as my child, but I'll be pretty upset with you about you hurting my child. So, I'll be hard to forgive, but you would still be my child. So I just have to show you God's grace not to kill you. But other than that, you be a goner, okay? So it's kind of crazy that she would protect this delinquent ass child over her innocent children. And I'm starting to think that the dad even had something to do with his behaviors even turning out this way. The mom sounds like she don't have it all in the first place. If y'all remember a movie called Where the Heart Is, and it was this lady named Forney or something like that, or it's a guy named Forney, and the woman's name was America or something like that. And then she had the lady, the neighbor's name was Neighbor or something like that, or some strange. But anyway, everybody just seemed delusional in that house. Nobody seemed to have it all. And this seems like that's the case here. The mom was just delusional and she didn't have it all. She was just overlooking all this crazy nonsense. I just can't believe this. Like, the amount of people that we encounter that allow this type of stuff to happen. Because I got another story. I don't know if it's come out yet, but I got another story that talks about the same situation. Oh yeah. But same situation where, you know, family secrets and stuff like that be revealed. And it's just crazy that so many people would ignore these wicked ways, you know, because they love somebody so much. Like, I don't love you that much. If you my family, you know, I love you in my heart, but I would lose every ounce of respect for you in that moment. And when I say I love you to death, I mean right now. You got to die. So that's just what it is. And I don't see there's no other way. There's no other way to handle this. You gotta go. So I'll gladly escort you to heaven's gates. And if there's hell's gates, I hope you're on the first flight there. Anyway, everyday people, let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll holler at you later. Peace.